The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from Fantastic Forum Studios, east, west, north, south, all over the country. Unholy Beelzebub. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you stick with us. We'll have to take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
L'chaim.
Indeed. As for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mir Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. Shout out to Oz. He's not here right now, and I think he's supposed to be. I think he will be. But here's hoping. But if not, shout out to him. He's our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line to Cal.
He's probably watching the trailer for Morbius.
That's what's happening. That sounds like Oz's MO. Late for the show to watch Sony Marvel stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Speaking of which, we got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to you all about three different comics. We're going to be talking to you all about the All-Nighter. We're going to be talking to you all about wait, no, I got it. The right. No, I got it. We're gonna all of a sudden, All-Nighter is like all that isn't coming to mind, but we're gonna be talking about We Have Demons. Huh?
Yes, okay.
We're gonna be talking about We Have Demons, and we're also gonna be talking about Night of the Ghoul, all of which are Comixology Originals. And as you can tell by the titles, probably, well, maybe not by All-Nighter, but by the rest of them, they're all a little bit on the, or in the realms, I guess I should say, of the eerier side of things, little bit darker. So we got all that for you, and of course the latest in comic book news and whatever else you all want to talk about. So feel free to let us know. We're going to go ahead, and I guess now's as good a time as any to tell you how it is you can get down with Fantastic Forum. Am I right?
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Indeed. Thank you, intern, for all your stalwart work. Oz is in the building. What up, Oz?
Hey, I'm having issues, so I might be jumping in and out.
Okay.
It's so weird because Larry had issues.
I did.
It's not like Mercury is in retrograde or anything. So these are the problems we were having 3 weeks ago, not now.
Well, what's Venus doing?
Venus is, I don't know. Who cares?
Oh, you don't want to
at home Venus? Counting her money.
You don't want to be my fire, my desire.
Oh, jeez.
Anywho, what's up, Fantastic Forum? What do you think of the new trailer for Morbius? Do you think this will be better than Venom?
Listen, I don't feel like Kaya Claw meant that to be a loaded question, but that sounds like a loaded question. Am I wrong in that?
Well, you guys hated Venom, so obviously you guys think anything will be better, right?
Now, when you say you guys, did you like Venom? Honest, did you actually be like, yeah, it was good? I don't remember you saying that.
I liked it.
Yeah? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like Academy Award winning. It had its issues. I can
No shit.
admit that. Look, Suicide Squad, the first Suicide Squad was the Academy Award winning movie. So let's not act like that's a joke. No, I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was a good time, you know.
Question mark.
Got it. Right.
It's not something
I
that
actually-
I'm in a hurry to see again.
Gotcha. I actually didn't watch. I didn't watch the Morbius trailer yet.
I didn't.
Have you
either.
all watched it? Oh no, you haven't either.
Yeah, the thing, I don't care about it. You know, like it's not.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's just like Venom. There's no Spider-Man in it. It has nothing to do with Spider-Man. Now they're shoehorning shit in, but there's not that relationship, that sense of responsibility, that tragic hero that Morbius is because of his relationship to Spider-Man. You know, 'cause that's really the only thing that gives him any kind of sense of, you know, I don't want to feed on people. Like, I want to do, you know, maybe something that can help with using what I have, even though I hate who I am and I hate everything about myself.
It's a very strange thing, because it's like, it would be very easy to make, like, whether you're talking about a Venom or a Morbius movie, you could make these movies with these characters without Spider-Man in it, while still acknowledging Spider-Man's existence. Like that can happen.
Look, you could do it without Spider-Man's existence, but you can do it with those themes that are imbued from their relationship with Spider-Man. So you know, it's like, okay, this is right, and then all you need is Spider-Man to come out. It's like, we meet again. You know, whenever they can.
You don't even need Spider-Man though, right?
No, but later down the line, like if you make these good movies, you're gonna make, you know, 3, and then when Sony can actually put Spider-Man in it, they could be like, oh yeah, well, I haven't seen you since the accident.
Yeah, no, that I agree with.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of telling that the first news stories I saw after the trailer was released was the fact that they mentioned Venom twice. And as I'm seeing in chat, I mean, Tiger Claw's talking about everything about the trailer except for Morbius. Everything he's saying in the trailer relates it to something that's not the movie.
Yeah.
It's all for the
Jay,
Easter eggs, man. It's all for the Easter eggs.
Jay, did you watch it?
No. Well, I don't think so. Maybe. Like,
Joe,
I feel
need
like
you to just stop right here.
How
You don't know if you watched the trailer or not?
Look, you're stifling Joe's creative process, man. This is the goal.
I'm sorry.
This could be the title of the episode.
I went to see Antlers on Friday.
Why aren't we reviewing that?
You know,
Like, who's stifling Joe's creative process now? See
Look,
what happens when you let Jay have free reign?
I
We're
went
at
to,
Antlers now. We're at
I went-
Antlers review.
I went to
Play the
see
music.
I went to see Antlers Friday, and if the Morbius trailer that you guys are talking about is the one that played in front of Antlers, then I saw it.
Oh, okay.
If that was the old trailer, then I have not seen it.
I would assume, and I don't know this for fact, but I would assume that the trailer you saw on Friday is probably the trailer that Tiger Claw's referring to today.
Okay, then I did see it. Yes, when I saw
What-
Antlers, I saw it.
What did you think?
Of Antlers? Oh man, it was great.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
creative process?
Right, exactly.
That's the title.
Why don't let
Comixology Originals.
It's why I don't let Jay have free reign. This is why, right here.
Look, speaking of Jay Free Reign, man, like he's having a good time with Chucky, man.
God damn, man. I woke up early this morning, like uncontrollably early, like 1 or 2 o'clock, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I threw on Chucky, and man, I had such a good time watching it. Like, it is such a good show. It's so much fun.
Wow.
In this current episode, basically Jake has sent Chucky to kill I can't think of the girl's name, but he sent them on a mission to kill her, and he ended up killing someone unrelated and burning the house down. And so now Jake is kind of like in the middle of having second thoughts, and he actually ends up working with the girl to try and stop Chucky, and he finally calls her out for being a bitch, because she's got this like attitude like she's the victim. Like if he was having a hard time, he should have just told her, like she would have backed off or something. And he's like, no, like I wanted to kill you because you're a terrible person and you deserve it. And they kind of work it out, and they're all basically, they're teaming up. The podcaster has kind of been looking, like researching Charles Lee Ray, and he independently figured out that he was in the doll. And so now those three are working together to try and stop Chucky, who just killed a policeman in the hospital. So it is so good. So much fun.
And
great. I can't wait to see your guys' review video of the second episode.
This is it. Like, we're doing a weekly Chucky recap, Joe, and whoever decides to watch it. I know I've been watching it, and but dude, Joe, man, how about that like backstory with like showing Chucky as a little kid before he was a full-on serial killer?
For the most part, I'm not into that, but I think it works. Like, we did get a name drop in the current episode of so we see how he met his partner in crime, his getaway driver.
Okay.
They were in the same boys' home together. And so it's interesting. I mean, for what it is. Like,
I only saw until he killed his own mom, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah,
like,
that was good.
Up until that point, like if that's all we got as him, like origin of Chucky, like I'd be happy. But if you say we're getting more, I'm not current on the newest episode, but yeah, we're getting more, huh?
Yeah. Basically, after his parents were dead, he ended up in a boys' home, and so he continues his being a little psycho during that time. And it's not that I dislike it. It's just part of me feels like we don't need to know someone's origin.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is pushing against that. And it's not a bad thing. It's just I don't always need a reason. Like, some people can just be psychotic and sociopathic killers. But I feel for what it is, it's not done poorly, and it is actually kind of interesting.
It's not even like a B plot. It's really just a little vignettes peppered throughout each episode. At least the first two. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is in this one. But yeah, like it's good, really good. Another thing that happened is there's a conflict between Jake's uncle and aunt and the mayor and her husband because I don't know if you were. I think it was the episode you saw where the daughter dresses up like Jake's dad.
Yeah.
For Halloween, like dresses up as him being electrocuted. Well, the teacher saw that video and invited both sets of parents. And, at first the mayor is like, my child didn't do anything. She's the one getting bullied. And then they show the video And dude is looking like, dude starts looking at the mayor like, you let her dress up as my brother? Like, why would you do that? And so, like, he's like about to go off on them, like physically, but they kind of get between it at first. But right now, they got a bunch of stuff going on with those two sides. So that is also interesting.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a really, really cool character-driven show because it's not just about these. They have the kill of the week. Where they kill like just a cool kill, and then some fodder kill, and then the story. But it like if you edit out those weekly kills, like it's really just a character-driven show, and these character dynamics and the progression into what's ultimately their fate.
Right.
I really.
You got the little romance going on.
Yeah.
Or the budding romance between Jake and can't remember my boy's name, the podcaster.
Yeah.
But you got something going on.
He's a podcaster too.
But yeah, it's pretty adorable. Kids falling in love. But it's good. I'm so glad. Like, I don't think I would have even known the show existed if you hadn't brought it up for review.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Oh, look, you're welcome. I was forced to watch it at Universal Studios on the little track.
Fantastic form of changing lives yet again.
Enriching lives.
Yeah. It's so funny because my big takeaway from that entire review, which was awesome, and again, I haven't watched Chucky yet, and that's my fault. I'm gonna watch it, but
you don't have to.
No, I'm going to anyway. I'm still going to. However, my big takeaway was that Jay is the opposite of Oz, where Oz enjoys thoroughly seeing the origin of every little thing. Jay's like, everything doesn't need a backstory.
So Jay's the nigga Oz.
Whoa, hey, man, watch yourself. Listen, need you to improve your diction on that, you son of a bitch. What are you saying? What'd you call him? Don't get smacked up. Watch out. Like, you better ask permission to come to LA, you son of a bitch.
I go to LA, Michigan, San Diego.
I don't know what he said.
That might be the title of this episode, nigga.
No, it better not be, goddamn. Listen, everyone getting slapped. I need all three of you to line up. I'm gonna slap myself at the end. Slap myself for letting it happen. How did I let this happen?
The Four Stooges.
I feel like friggin' Oprah when she had that KKK dude on. Like, damn it! Look, the younger part of our audience is like, who's Oprah? I agree. You're right. Who's Oprah?
I feel like Oprah too when I eat a big cauliflower pizza.
Her list of favorite things just came out.
How are we getting into this?
This is why I don't let Joe have free reign. Right here. Joe took us from now we're at Oprah's favorite things. Like, why do you know when Oprah's list of favorite things comes out, Joe?
If it's not comic books in the top 3, then I don't know why.
It actually is number 2.
The morning radio show I listened to was talking about it, so that's why I know it came out.
Okay,
it came out yesterday, and Goop came out today.
Goop,
right?
I don't know what that is. What is that?
You don't know what Goop is?
That's Gwyneth Paltrow's money laundering. That's Gwyneth Paltrow's money laundering operation.
Yeah. That's where she sells the candle that smells like her vagina.
Yeah, Larry has that.
Oh, the candles that smell like her vagina are called Goop?
Well, her company that puts all those things out, all those weird things, the books of her. Remember how Peggy Hill and King of the Hill had those like Peggy-isms in the newspaper?
Yes, I remember.
Gwyneth Paltrow put a book of those.
Listen, I understand.
Goop is like the Spencer's Gifts of rich people.
Right.
because it's really expensive stuff. There's some weird stuff and a lot of like.
It's like biodegradable anal beads and shit.
It's like technically not really sexual stuff, but like there's a lot of shoving stuff into places that like she was saying like little eggs women were supposed to shove up in there to kind of strengthen those muscles. Until
like they got something for like every orifice, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Until doctors came out and said, don't put that in there.
Hey, right. Friggin' the friggin' committee of gynecologists are like, stop.
Talk about not FDA approved. Like the materials you're using to make these things isn't like it's proprietary or something. You know what I mean? Because it's holistic, and that's part of the problem. You go to the Hustler store or that place in that seedy part of Las Vegas. Like you're just gonna get regular hypoallergenic latex to shove in yourself, or surgical steel, but you're not getting that from goop. Like the name tells you, it's made out of goop.
Right,
it's like flubber, but less sexy.
Biodegradable, like owl nest.
Yeah, it's like owl eyelash goop, like the the shit that the owl wakes up with. They harvest.
I literally, like, when you're like goop, like, I feel like this is the first time I'm hearing about goop, even though I'm sure you all have mentioned before.
No front. I know.
You've heard of
that's your girl. That's your girl. Like you.
Listen. I get it. I had one dream about Gwyneth Paltrow back in the day that I didn't understand.
It's not just a dream, Larry. It's not just.
It was like, one dream.
You were holding hands and looking longingly into her eyes.
No. I get it, and I understand why that would lead someone to believe that's like, oh, this fool really likes Gwyneth Paltrow.
Everyone.
Not I know to get Lawrence when I come down.
I'm like, listen, I don't have a type, but if I did, Gwyneth Paltrow would not be it.
Look, your mouth says no, but that twinkle in your eye says yes.
Listen, that's called a ring light.
You guys saw this, right? How he said, he's like, like,
No, listen. I mean, look, I'm not by no means like I don't. Again, that's like I don't have a type, but I don't. There's no part of me while I'm awake that looks at Gwyneth Paltrow is like, oh man, like I get why Tony wanted her. Zero. I'm just like, I mean, I guess.
Here's the politician part of Mayor Young is that he's saying Gwyneth Paltrow not his type. Pepper Potts, however.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like there's nothing, like no part of it at all. Like not even rescue, not even when she's wearing the armor. Am I like, oh, she's hot in the armor? No, she's not hot in the armor even. In fact, she might be less attractive in the armor.
Let me get you 2 of those candles. I'm ordering them right now. Hold on.
Pepper Potts in the comics is fine, but Gwyneth Paltrow is like, she's all like. Look, I'm not saying like the character I like. I'm just saying I don't look at her and think of her as an attractive individual. I'm not attracted to her, and that's okay. Like I don't need to be attracted to her.
Yeah, just
look, I'm sure Gwyneth Paltrow's not attracted to me, and that's okay too.
She loves your hip hop stuff.
I've
what are you talking about? Listen, first of all,
myself. So
listen. I'm taking that as a direct insult. Like when he's like, "Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow likes your hip hop stuff." How dare you, sir? Like I feel like that's calling me very much not hip hop. Like and I'm just listen. I'm not here to say that I'm not here trying to say how hip hop I am or how hip hop I'm not, but I'm more hip hop than that. Goddamn, that's what I know. I'm definitely not Gwyneth Paltrow approved on Holy Hills. Like, what are you talking
overlapping interest.
Talking craziness. You talking craziness. Look, listen. Ask for permission to come to LA next time. If you come back to LA without permission, you're getting gotten. Damn.
Overlapping.
You and I. Watch yourself, Jay. You're on notice, Jay. Don't step out of bounds. You better stay your happy ass in Inglewood.
It's their meet cute. They met at Amoeba and their hands touched on the same NAS record.
Speaking of,
wait. No. Speaking of. Wait, are we just gonna mess around and pretend that Moses didn't say NAS? NAS?
Yeah, that's how she says it.
Okay, let's just go. I'm done. Can we talk about comics now? Ugh.
I thought
What are we
we
talking
were
about
talking
next?
Pepper Potts.
I actually thought of you this weekend, Larry, because I went to a cocktail soiree at a haunted mansion.
Why would you think of me? You should not be thinking of me in that
You would have
situation. I
shit your
don't.
pants at the moment they made you sign the waiver.
I'm just saying, cocktail soiree sounds like me.
Yeah,
But once you get to at haunted mansion, I should be out of that occasion. I'm not going to any like. I might not even go to a cocktail soiree at an unhaunted mansion, depending on whose mansion it is. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, that's the what is it? That's the game. Like they're hunting humans.
Right. See, I'm just saying, like, I'm hip to that.
You
where I'm
wouldn't
like,
go to a cocktail soiree where somebody like ends up dead and you have to solve the mystery.
are they fake dead or real dead?
Does it matter?
That's part
It
of the
absolutely
mystery.
matters. 100%. 100%.
That's part
100%.
of the mystery. So
No,
this
it's
is
not part of the mystery. That's good, Moses. That's very funny. It's part of the mystery. You gotta figure out if they're real dead or fake dead. You're like, damn it, this blood feels very bloody.
This is like a LARP event, and you don't have to figure out anything, but you're hanging out at this place where this doctor killed a bunch of kids, and then the kids that took revenge on him hired or made rituals to bring in the pagan monsters and legends of the old country.
Hold on.
So you go, there's like little mini escape room things with puzzles that you have to go through, and you have to you have to talk to the demon, and you have to give him a secret at one point. You have to give him tokens of things that you get in your little journey there. And I'm like, man, Larry would love this because
Dude, I love escape rooms, but not
and
the
the thing
scary
is,
escapes.
it was in a church. It was in the old church, and then in the hall, like they just had like a jazz like singer with a piano and a stand-up bass, and you're just having cocktails, and then these ghosts in character come up to you and just give you clues. It's almost like it's like a LARP of a survival horror game.
It's the parts of it that you're describing sound fantastic.
Right. The
parts that you aren't describing are the parts that I probably won't like.
Yeah, well, we got about 3 minutes before we have to get into our review. So, but there is a maze that I had to go through where it was pitch black, and you just have to have a candle and tell the demon to take your light, not your life, in order to survive it.
No,
and it's so dark that the candle doesn't light anything.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it, and
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Like, it sounds awesome for you.
Yeah,
like it does not sound like awesome for me. Like that sounds like.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, people, check out the video of Mayor Young reacting to a scene in a movie, and it is
in broad daylight.
Honestly, and I gotta tell you, that is legit. You're gonna watch it and think, "Oh, they wrote a script for this," because there's no way that this scene is producing that much fear. Like, there's a one point where he literally says, "I can't take this. They're making noises."
You heard the noises, Oz. You heard them.
She was telling a story.
She was recounting
noises.
A story of something that happened, and she survives because she's telling the story. Right?
I don't know anything. Okay.
Oh my god, Mo, you know the title, but
Insidious.
Go watch
very
it, 4 minutes. Go watch it.
The title is actually called Voluntary Torture. That's Larry's segment on our channel where he watches horror movies. So there's one of him watching Larry. There's one of him watching the trailer for Hereditary, and then Insidious. And there's he still hasn't watched the other Lily, but he's supposed to, and he's gonna watch many more things because
you gotta take him to like one of these soirees of yours with like a GoPro.
They look. Here's the thing: the scariest part. I got like 45 seconds before we go into our reviews. But the scariest part of that whole soiree, because I was actually scared, but the real scariest part was their laxical COVID precautions. That was really it. Like they just made you sign a waiver that says, "Hey, you're gonna get COVID. You can't sue us." Yeah.
That is
that's what the vacuum is
lackadaisical.
for.
I agree.
Yeah.
Tiger Claw says having Larry watching that was insidious in itself.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiger
Also,
Claw.
I did feel guilty because I don't want to put Larry through these things. So that's why I picked scenes or trailers, because it's not, I don't want to torture Larry, but we need it for the views and likes. So make sure you like.
I'll give him credit. It was like what I thought was going to happen was way worse than what actually happened. And so I appreciate that. However, it doesn't help me in the moment. In the moment, I'm just like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
I was there with him, and I made sure he's like
in daylight.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't want to see me try to do this at night. I mess around like you'll feel. What you say?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Oz will feel himself being spooned, and he'll be like, "What is that?" And then when he sees me, he's gonna be mad. And like, listen, I can't sleep.
Well, look, when we go to San Diego,
I'm here.
We're gonna film one of these while you're in San Diego, Larry.
Oh,
it's
my birthday. It's my birthday.
So we're gonna make you watch Birthday Death Day.
Is that the sequel or is that the first one?
I don't even know what he's talking about.
I've never seen any of them, but I'm gonna make him watch a scene of that. I'm sure he'll.
I think it's actually called Happy Death Day.
Whatever.
And she gets killed on her birthday.
Birthday Death Day. Look, that
one's actually pretty good.
The first one or the second one, Joe?
They're actually both pretty good. Like, I like how the second one goes in a different direction. Like the same premise, but a different direction.
Nobody dies.
And it kind of adds to the lore. But yeah, they're actually both pretty good. And I can't say I was scared. Like, it's kind of just your standard slasher stuff. But it is fun watching her be in the situation and then figuring out why the situation happens in the second movie. And yeah, and she actually has a really interesting character arc.
The second one is totally different direction. She does not die on her birthday, but is actually born again, Christian.
Well, that's when you get baptized. They say you die to
Hallelujah.
the world, then you get born to Jesus.
Amen.
However that works. So you discussed the physics of that.
They actually killed her 3 days before her birthday, and on the third day, on her birthday, hey, here I am. Hi.
See? One step too far.
So we should move on.
Yeah.
Scary
comic book
review. Scary
comic book
like review.
Well, not like that, but like.
Keep it moving. Jay ain't got time for your nonsense.
It's such a good bumper. Thank you, Moses, for that.
So what do you guys want to do first?
That's a good question. What's so funny, y'all?
Nah, nothing. Go ahead. Mo's dead.
Mo's dead. I think he just turned off his camera. And I think when we turn off our camera, we get Jay's album cover, which I'm not mad at, but I'm like, how did Jay make that happen? That's what I want to know.
I know I uploaded it for me.
Jay, all I know is I uploaded for me. Now, if you have it, well, I don't know why you all choosing to promote my album, but thank you.
Right. Like, I don't know why you guys have it, but I appreciate the promotion. Yeah.
Foundation on all streaming platforms. J Random. Look for J Random's Foundation. You won't be mad. It's awesome.
That's my standby thing because it looks like kind of like the standby pattern a little bit.
It does.
Contrast and
it does. It does. It definitely has a test pattern kind of feel.
It also brings up a point that I want to like use Joe's music, but I haven't asked him for permission. So like as a musical bed and stuff for stuff.
You should definitely do that. Like a lot of his stuff is
You're
good.
not Jay.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just saying what you should do.
I have to ask Jay.
yeah,
I agree.
I would love that. I don't know the legal
Right.
stuff.
I have to go through people.
Like it's actually something I've been meaning to look up. I just haven't because the probability of it coming up I felt was pretty low.
Like you
But
feel
I feel like
who's gonna
because
copyright strike it? Are you gonna do it, Jay?
well, my distributor will.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Like I'm distributed through CD Baby, so I'm not even sure I can use my music in my video without
Right. They're hardcore about
like
it. Yeah.
they'll strike it and then they'll give the money to me, but you know,
So technically, Joe
I don't know how it works.
Joe can fuck himself over and make himself rich at the same time.
Right.
He's Jay Trump.
Damn.
Like the Donald J. Trump, the J stands for Jay. Like,
Got it.
Real quick, in chat, we have Alfonso Ceja says the true stuff that happens at the barbershop.
Indeed. What up, Alfonso?
And we have Sir John saying hello. I wish you all a good hello.
Good hello.
Hi, Sir John.
Greetings and salutations to you as well, Sir John. Thank you for both of you for tuning in. Appreciate you both.
Did we ever decide what we're talking about?
I'm gonna go ahead and say the all-nighter. It's alphabetical.
There it is. Bam.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, that's not alphabetical order.
yeah, because you can't.
He's dropping the T, but if you drop the T, then you make the mistake that we made.
Right.
You kind of need the.
Wait, Oz. How did you read just one issue of All Nighter?
Wait, which one are we talking about? The one we're supposed to read, or the one we?
No, the one you weren't supposed to read. How many issues of that did you read?
I got through 2, and I was already like taking notes on how bad this book is. And
Okay.
How dare you make me read this nonsense about some teenage hormonal whatever?
Mm-hmm. No, I was tripping too because it's 5 issues. I read all 5 because I actually liked it. I liked it a lot. And I was just like, wow. I'm like, why would Moses have us read this? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
I thought it was
Joe.
It
was Jay that brought up.
Oh, it was Joe.
Yeah.
Now, Joe would have made more sense, but not in this context. I still was like, this is strange that any of us did it, because I knew it was all supposed to be like all horror stuff, and I was like, this is not horror. Like, I'm waiting for the horror things to happen, or all like like darker, maybe not horror, but you know what I mean.
Well, it's technically is a horror themed book, the All Nighter.
Oh yeah, the All Nighter is, but All Nighter, without the is a slice of life book.
By the way, also involving a diner.
They use the wrong words.
Right. Also involving an all-night diner. I agree.
But the All-Nighter is what we were supposed to read, and you guys did.
No, I read it.
No, yeah. No, but not when. No.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
not
you read
before.
something else instead, because dropping the THE, and that dash is very important too.
Well,
I don't know.
The other one has a dash too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. They both have dashes.
It's a mess. I don't know. I mean, I searched for it on Comixology Unlimited, and look, I hate to knock Comixology Unlimited because we're having a hard time getting paper, and we're having in comics, Larry. Like, don't laugh.
No, you're 100% real on that.
This is kind of why I think Joe and I kind of were simpatico in this type of theme for this week's show, because it's all digital, Comixology Unlimited, for the price of 2 comics or 1 comic a month. You have a expansive library of original content and other publishers' work, and some of this stuff, like if you get at the comic shop, it's going to be all messed up and or not there, because they're having the distribution level of comics right now it's a disaster. It's like it's their coronavirus now. They're never
Yeah.
fucked up. It's kind of like the waves in the pond, the rings that cast stone leaves, and we're feeling these effects in a lot of the price of chicken, the price of gas, ramen is $3 for $1 now, where it used to be $5 for $1.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's just Comixology Unlimited. If you love comics and want to get new stuff on New Comic Book Day without it being smashed to bits, or existent, like Comixology Unlimited might be the place to go.
Listen,
But
I want to argue you so bad, but I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can right now, because right now you are 100% correct, because
That's not
stuff
even the
is getting
right.
smushed.
Look, that's the one I read.
right, he's showing you. He's
Yeah, I'm
showing the
showing
audience.
you the wrong thing.
Okay.
It's
I'm
all
showing
nighter, and it has a dash.
I'm also mad that cover is in color when I read a black and white book.
you.
I hate.
I
it
mean,
when
the
you do that.
covers are going to be in color. They're not going to be in black and white.
That's-
It's still a comic book.
Is it
Like,
though?
when's the last time you read a black and white comic that had a black and white cover?
I don't see color.
Oh, you son of a
All you see is white.
bitch. White words.
But Jay, man, look, you brought an all-nighter to us. Why don't you tell us what it's about?
Okay, so there's an all-night diner, and it's run by vampires. And one of the vampires is getting actually pretty fucking bored with life. And so after going out to see a movie, he comes back and sees a crime happening and decides to fight it. And he figures, I can do that. I can, be a superhero. And so him and one of the other vampires, they kind of go out as a team, a superhero team, beating up bad guys, and it catches the attention of Dr. Frankenstein. And we find out that the reason he exists is because Mary Shelley wrote a book about him. And they're worried that the same might happen with superheroes if these two keep going on and, being superheroes. And so I forgot what the Dark Council is called in this one, but they're worried they might come down on them and cause trouble for everyone if they don't stop.
Now, Jake, let me ask the question real quick here, because dude is not Dr. Frankenstein, right? He's Frankenstein's monster, right?
No, he's Dr. Frankenstein.
Why is he a giant?
I don't know why.
Stylistic choice, poetic license.
So I'm supposed to believe that, despite the fact that the dude is like 8 feet tall, he's supposed to be Dr. Frankenstein and not Frankenstein's monster?
Right.
No, Joe, I'm not going to do that. That's Frankenstein, Jay. It's Frankenstein's monster. Like, the chick even says Frankenstein's monster in the book.
Right. He says he's Dr. Frankenstein, and they say, "You mean Frankenstein's monster?" And he says, "Believe what you want."
No, he doesn't say I'm Dr. He says I'm Frankenstein.
He's Frankenstein's monster. He just went out and got a PhD.
Or honorary.
Honorary doctorate. No,
Right,
like,
the brain they used was the doctor.
What he says is, these guys don't have to call me by that other name. They can just call me Frankenstein. I'm Frankenstein. And what she says is, you mean Frankenstein's monster, right?
That's not the way I remember it, but I've been wrong before.
Okay. I'm just saying he's literally a giant dude. Like, I'm not saying that you can't be tall and smart, because Lord knows that can happen, but he definitely comes across more like Frankenstein's monster than Frankenstein, than Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
So I don't know. Either way, what I will say is this is like what I was expecting from this book after I realized what was the right book I was supposed to be reading was a book about a vampire pretending to be a superhero or choosing to be a superhero because, you know, they could like go out and do vampire-y things. And just in the 2 issues that I read, I was like, man, this book in just the 2 issues became like, they did a lot of world building in those 2 issues. And like that literally like a vampire that chooses to become a superhero. Like, I guess you can be like, okay, well, that's the hook, I guess. But even then, it's like, it doesn't even, it feels like such a small part of what's happening in the actual story that it's kind of like, it's almost like a bait and switch in a good way. Because like, you're still going to get that, but the book is so much more than that concept.
It's almost like, well, I compare it to like the iZombie. Like, it's a book about a zombie.
Right.
A zombie apocalypse and a detective. But there's so much more there. And then to a certain degree, I compare it to was it Resident Alien a little bit too, because
I can see that.
You somebody tells you, oh, it's an alien coming to Earth and deciding to do this, but it becomes something else. Yeah. And on a lower level, it's kind of like Resident Alien, but yeah, iZombie I think would be the better comparison.
I agree. Yeah. Oz, did you end up reading this book?
I read some of it.
Okay, so you didn't get through like an issue, or you did get through an issue?
I didn't get through an issue.
Okay, and what prevented that from happening from your perspective? Okay, that's fair. You were just like, you weren't like. Did you like this all-nighter better, or the other all-nighter that we read?
Honestly, the other all-nighter, which it was also bad, was a little bit more. Like the other all-nighter, I got to issue 2.
Okay,
and that's when when the text figured out that it was the wrong one, and I kind of wanted to know how she knew her roommate's boyfriend.
Right.
I kind of wanted to pick up book 3, and then I found this book, and I didn't like the art. Like it's just it's basic, and the colors seemed off certain times. Story wise, I couldn't get into it. I was like, I was immediately out when Homegirl was talking about how their coffee maker was broken, so they can't make coffee, but she can make an espresso. I'm like sitting there like, bitch, add more water. You got coffee, done.
Yeah.
Like, so
I was annoyed at that too.
It's little things like that just bug me. I'm not even. I haven't even worked at a coffee shop. Like, I can understand why Mo gets pissed off.
Yeah,
he actually like did that for a living. I never have.
I was actually happy that she called them out on calling it espresso, because I'm like, yeah, slap that motherfucker. And then it's like, oh, it's broken. It's like, yeah, just add hot water. It's an Americano. Like, what's wrong with that? Everybody loves an Americano. Put a dash of vanilla in it and some half and half. They won't know the difference.
And the dude is saying, look, I just want coffee. Give him that. He'll drink it and like it.
And it's a diner. It's not like he wants, a Robusto Sumatra blend or some shit,
Robusto.
I don't know what that means.
Arabica's the bean you need.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he don't know the difference between a Robusto and a Arabica.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I guess I can go back and try to read it. Maybe once the superhero stuff happens, I'll get more into it. But just those first few pages, it's like it's a little torturous. There's a lot of words.
Damn.
That's going to be the theme for my reviews. Spoiler alert. There's a lot of words that you guys threw at me.
They're books. They're comic books. I mean, they're pictures with them at least. But
look, one of the books, there's more words than pictures. Like the words just covered the whole picture.
We'll get to that. Sir John in YouTube chat says half and half in coffee, yucks. And
he also said, come on, Mayor, the most popular comic is about a pirate who can stretch his dick the longest.
Why aren't we reviewing that?
That's One Piece.
You guys would hate it.
Oh, I hate One Piece, yeah.
I've never watched a full episode of One Piece, but yeah, every time I try it, I don't like it.
Is One Piece really about the dude's dick? Because every episode I haven't seen, there's no dick.
No, his whole body can stretch. So
I was just like, if I saw his dick stretch, then I would be in. That's what I was saying.
Like his dick, like he doesn't stretch his dick in the comic, but he could. Like if he was a real person, he could stretch his dick.
Well, in the hentai videos, he does. Like the fan made ones. But yeah, back to Sir John and the half and half in coffee, yucks. Yeah, I agree. But somebody that says espresso, that motherfucker will probably put sugar and half and half in his coffee. The end.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like we all hate this book. What's the next book?
I liked it. Oh shit! I hit the wrong thing. I actually liked it. I thought it was fun. Like a little. What's the word? Not cliche, but it starts out a little.
It's
regular, yeah, but the characters are interesting, and it's not the only thing they're doing. Like, they're doing a lot with what they have, and like Lauren said, there's a lot of world building in these two issues, and they're making a pretty interesting world. And the characters are actually pretty interesting also.
How far into the first book before they decide to become superheroes and actually do something interesting?
It's about halfway.
I could double check, but I think it is halfway.
Like, the book is like 30 or 32 pages. So that means you have to read a solid 15 pages of the book before you see the superhero stuff.
Yeah, I actually fell asleep, and then when I turned the page in my sleep, there were superheroes. I woke up, and I stayed up all day.
This fool is dumb. Sleep reading.
That's so.
Like I actually, Emily was watching TV and she's like, "Did you fall asleep?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's what happens sometimes when you read some of these comics. These independent, creator-owned comics. Sometimes, look, they utilize their resources properly, and even if it puts me to sleep. But when I woke up and kept reading, I didn't fall back asleep.
There you go. No,
so
you're right.
You got page 14.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Daredevil.
Yeah.
But a vampire.
Right. And it talks about like even the movie they go to see is like they're watching like the Winter Soldier, but with Captain Claw.
Yeah, it's basically Wolverine and Captain America as one person.
Right. And like they talk about the merits, like the different type of superhero type genre movie. And that's why this being kind of tropey and kind of subverting those tropes at the same time makes it a good story. And it's actually back to Oz's point where it's like, yeah, like if the art was better, I'd be more excited about this book. The story is good, but again, I fell asleep halfway through, or just slight of the halfway through, and I like where it's going. When I got to the end, I like where it's going. The last well drawn book that did something like this with these monsters in an interesting way and subverted tropes and used tropes was Jeff Lemire's Frankenstein's and Agents of Shade, and that only lasted.
Oh yeah.
That only lasted 6 issues. So it's not like I'm gonna expect DC to do something better. Yeah,
Right.
this is what I got now. Yeah.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a good book. I agree.
It was amazing. I still think about it, and I still think of the art. I still think, I'm like, man, I wish they would do more with this, with what they set up there, and they don't give a shit about it. Even Marvel, Legion of Monsters, they don't do their shit with that either.
Right.
You know,
You're right.
So it's like that. I like that. The iZombie style, like that's what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was. That's what this is, and you know. I'm not getting that from anybody until Chip Zdarsky. I'm not even a fan of Chip Zdarsky as a writer that much. Like I didn't like his Spider-Man, and from there I'm like, I'm not a fan, even though there's other stuff. Can't
write Spider-Man, not a fan.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, editor problems. You know that's a big, like it's when the movie was coming out, so that to make it feel like a movie.
Right.
But yeah, but he's like hearing him talking to panel, like stand-up show. Yeah, so I love the guy. Reading his Twitter, amazing. and I'm ready for his. I'm ready for this book. I want to keep reading more.
Cool.
Hey, what did you think of the art, man?
Average.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty average. Like, not great, but not bad.
Yeah. I enjoyed this style. It wasn't as consistent as I like it, but like I do like Haspiel. Like it's some of the Vertigo stuff kind of look like that, and I'm okay with it. But I cut you off, Jay.
I was gonna say it's kind of funny. Like you talk about art. One of the books we're reviewing today, like from the first page, it made my heart light. How amazing the art was. But
let me guess, it was Night of the Ghoul.
No.
Oh man, it's cool,
yeah. I know. I'm so mad because I took a bunch of screen captures of that book to like, because I look. We'll get to that.
Right.
We'll get to it. To it.
But yeah, the art was fine. It didn't seem too bad. I like the vampires.
Yeah.
I mean, a better costume would have been cool, but he was working with what he had. Like, story-wise, it made more sense.
It's part of the charm, right?
And that's kind of what I like too, where it's like even it made me realize that when I read Kick-Ass, it's like that was too like streamlined. That was too iconic. Like the fact that it's not iconic is part of it grounds it.
Right. And that's the thing too, where you can see the costume and the like in this book where it like you can see the parts of it that are trying to be iconic. Like it doesn't quite get there, but that makes it feel more real. Like it's like if you made your own costume in real life and you didn't have like some sort of like multi-millionaire person to like create the costume for you in secret because that's a thing, right? It's like,
or just a really good cosplay maker.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing though, still somebody that is like, who's gonna keep your secret like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to have like it literally like your best friend has to be like a master like cosplayer person. Because if it's not your best friend, they're gonna tell somebody.
Oh, you treat it like a whore. You pay her to shut the fuck up.
No, what are you talking about? Like people will take your money and talk.
That's
real life. Listen. Like you never heard of Stormy Daniels?
No, but she was trying to save our democracy. She's a hero.
Oh yeah, okay, whatever. You're right. She's an American hero. Look, but anyway,
hey, she turned me off for mushrooms on my pizza now.
I will say this.
Oh, Emily's happy about that. She don't like mushrooms on pizza.
I personally like the art better, I think, than all the rest of you. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like, is it Lou I think it was Lou that was the artist on this, or I'm not 100% certain on that though. Because I know it's like I feel like it's Chip Zdarsky and maybe Lou that did the art, and then
It's two dudes that did the art.
well, but it's one of the dudes is the artist and one's the colorist, right?
Is that what it is?
Like Allende or something
It's
like that.
Jason Liu is the artist, and Paris Aline is the colorist.
Aline? Okay, that's fair. Let's go with that.
It's
We messed your-
Alleyne.
Okay. If we messed your name up, we apologize because I'm sure we did. If it wasn't me, it was Jay. But either way,
We invite
It's
you to come on the show and tell us how to pronounce it.
indeed,
Or
100%.
just test us out.
Or
Both.
if you want some drawing tips, I'm available.
Oh, see, we were cool right until that point. Now they're offended because of Oz.
I can't.
We've
help
seen
but
Oz's
correct.
art.
But what I'm saying is, I do feel like the art, like, and don't get me wrong, I understand what the criticisms that you all put forth.
Oz's best
I'm
art
not-
is the one he buys from Brazil.
I'm not saying that the criticisms are unfounded because I don't think that that's the case. At the same time, I do feel like there's a tone that's struck in this story, and I feel like the art services that tone in a real way. And not only that, but I also feel that like the characters, like the character art, especially when you talk about things like facial expressions and whatnot, is really good. Like when you talk about these 4 vampires, like a lot of their personality shows through in the art. And you know, part of it also comes through in the dialogue, but it's one of these things where you have these 4 vampires that are living together and they've been in this situation for a certain amount of time. And I feel like there's a lot of information you get from the way that their sentences are constructed and the interactions they have with each other, along with the expressions that the people do and don't have. And so I think that that's why I kind of want to emphasize that, you know, the art is it might be a bit better than we're giving it credit for, only because, yeah, like I by no means, like, it's not flashy comic book art. But at the same time, it, like, I think it kind of goes to what you were saying, Mo, where you were like, it kind of has like a little bit of that Vertigo kind of DNA inside of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's telling a story with the art in a way that's subtle, and it's like, you know,
it's very utilitarian.
Yeah,
but it's also expressive. And
right. It's like economy of the panel.
You can see, like, okay, they did this because of deadline, and they did this to convey this part of the story. and there's comics we've reviewed where you can't tell which is what. You know, it's either
you're right.
So
you're right.
The fact that you know you're getting this from something that you can get, whether you pay for it or not, I think it is a testament. And you know, some parts I wish were consistent, like the main dudes, the more adult-looking guy's forehead changes every other page in terms of how big it is. That is an inconsistency that I don't like, but I know it's him, and I know that, like, the architecture in that panel looks good, like the perspective between the window and how far he's from it, or how far he's from the wall behind them, like, looks good, even though his forehead doesn't.
See, but that's the thing too, where it's one of those things where it's like you have the like you're talking about, like, basically the guy that's like the head chef of the all-nighter, and it's like there's a lot of expressions that you get from him, because I feel like he's the character that you have to infer the most about.
Right.
Like all the other characters kind of tell you more about themselves, like, more overtly.
Yeah.
He's the one that you get, like, he speaks less. And so his expressions carry more weight.
Up right now, like how he's just in the background, not as much detail in that one. The proportions are okay, from a profile view, when he actually talks to Frankenstein, like when they come in to the diner at the end, it just looks, the proportion looks off. I don't even think it's that much off, but it looks off.
I hear you.
It's just it took me out of it, but again, it's utilitarian. Like the story gets conveyed properly through the art, and then it's not a failure. Like it's not like just bad art. Yeah.
No. I don't think so either. And like, look, just on the 2 panels that we just saw, like you're right. Like that person there almost looks like a different person than the person we were looking at previously. So I can see where you're coming from with that.
But the way the light hits that bone structure looks amazing. Like you can't see.
No, it looks great. Yeah. Well, but again, like that's a colorist, right?
Right. Yeah. But that's part of the whole book. Yeah.
But it's really interesting because, like I said, like in those 2 issues, there's a lot of world building and there's a lot of questions that for me, I was intrigued. I was like, wow, like I did not like honestly. A book about vampires running a diner and one of them deciding to become a superhero, like or a mass vigilante, would have been enough for me. Where I'm just like, no, that feels like more than enough story for us. Like there's a lot of places we can go with just that by itself. But all the other things that they introduced in just the 2 issues, I'm like, oh wow, like this is like they're trying to go places with this book. And I'll go for that ride because, and like, here's the messed up part for me. I was like, so are they printing this or no? Like, is this only digital? Because I'm like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll read a digital only book, but it's not my preference. Like, I'd rather buy a physical copy. And so I'm like, what are the plans for that?
I think if this is part of the Substack stuff, I think they have some sort of print deal with Dark Horse.
But down the line, or it's already happening?
I think it's down the line, but closer than you think.
Okay, and that's fine. Yeah. Look, but here's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, I'm all about good comics. Like I just want to read good comics, and it's like if digital is where I need to read it because it's a good book, I'll read it digitally. But I'm just like, that's not, for me personally, not my preference. Like, I'd rather read a physical book. And so I'm just like, oh, like, but hey, like, hats off to Comixology. I read this and I was like, I would like to read more of this. Especially considering where I'm like, I read a whole nother book that I thought was the book. And like, I'm not mad at Oz because I'm sure that part of Oz's frustration was I had already read another book. Like if he had come to this first, he probably would have gotten through it. But, if you read 2 issues of a different book, you might be like,
We all knew we were doing Comixology Originals. So if you didn't see that logo on the cover, that's your fault.
I mean, Mo,
you can't hold that against the book.
I'm not saying he should have held it against the book. Yeah. Like, understand, I read as many issues of it as were available. I'm just saying, Oz and I are different people. I'm not mad at Oz because, I know Oz. I respect who Oz is as an individual.
I'm mad at Oz.
Okay, and that's
the
fair.
thing that sucks. Do that. The thing that sucks is that it's not on Comixology, so I can't even read it.
What do you mean the book's not on Comixology? That's where I read it.
David Hahn's Snyder?
Oh, no, that's not where I read that. I thought you were talking about the other
right. One. No, you guys have been talking about it so much. I'm a little interested to at least read like the first issue.
Listen, Jay, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jay. I think you would love this book. like honestly, I feel like you'll really be into it.
Right, but it's not
available
digitally.
No, so it's not on Comixology. No.
Yeah, I don't understand why people don't want to make money. Like, I would
keep it.
I would buy the book. Like, they would get money for it, and they wouldn't even have to lose money on printing paper. Like, it's just a digital file.
Keep in mind that this is. Well, go ahead, Mo.
one of the things about Comixology is I don't know how good they are for the independent creator to make money as a platform. So that's the only thing, because I know even when Comixology Unlimited came out, like the stuff that was unlimited, like nobody got any kind of residuals or anything off of those things. It was just a deal done with the publishers. Yeah, it was. There was a lot of criticism, and I'm the type of guy that when shit like that happens, I don't want to support certain things. Mm-hmm. But Amazon is just brilliant at like making it hard to cancel subscriptions. So
right.
I just kept it, and I just kept, and you know what I do, Larry. Like I'll read bootleg comics I'll buy from the shop, and when I don't get to, I'll just buy direct from the artist when I get to convention.
Absolutely.
And then the last 2 years or so, it's been harder to do that.
Of course.
But I'll buy a shirt, I'll buy a print, like. But that's just me, and I advise you to do that if you can. Like, see how you can fund the artist directly. But even like selling your, like if you're an independent creator, like on Image, and you want your book on Comixology, like you might not be able to make all that much. Like you got to split. I don't know what the split is. I would like to talk to an artist. If anybody out there wants to out. Hey, look, I'm praising Comixology this episode for its ability to give me comics. But if you want to talk shit of it as an artist or a creator, hit us up. fantasticforum@gmail.com. Because
I would
like to.
I want to hear about too. I want to make sure, like, I'm enjoying this and my money's going somewhere. I want to know that some of it's going to you.
And if David Hahn wants to put All Nighter on Comixology, I will give him like $5 next time I see him to help compensate him. I'll give him like $5 for each issue I read. Like if I stop at one, I just give him $5. But if I read the whole thing, I'll give him $25.
Now, in fairness, we're talking about a book that was written like 10 years ago. Like for all we know, David Hahn doesn't even make comic books anymore.
Let's see.
So
you can get it on Amazon.
You're saying. So say again, Alice?
See, okay, because I found it on Amazon, and one of the
options, it's not digital.
One of the options for buying it is Kindle and Comixology.
Right. You can. Oh, that might be weird.
One of the formats to buy All Nighter, the wrong All Nighter.
Oh, that's weird.
Right, I know that's what I'm saying. Like I was gonna look up like where you can buy the book, and that's Amazon right there, Kindle and Comixology. But you guys couldn't find it. I think Lawrence might have messed you up. You don't put the dash.
Well, I went
there's
to David.
A dash in the title, right?
No.
I went to David Hahn's page, his creator page on Comixology. And it's not there.
It's an image book,
On Amazon, I went to All Nighter, and it gave me like Urban Decay Foundation.
Right. And Sanqueon Girl Soft Bras.
Now, let's see. I'm going to try a thing here, and it's going to take a little bit.
What that
I'll do it in the background. I think if you go on the Image Comics app, which is powered by Comixology, you can get it. But that's an experiment we'll do here. Oh, never mind. The Image Comics app is no longer available in the App Store.
Jeez.
There you go.
Damn.
Now, where are all my comics that I bought there?
Listen, man. Look, we ran out of digital paper, friend. No more digital paper.
I have to send an email tomorrow because that is not good.
Man. It's hard out here.
I blame the union.
Like the European Union or like
the Image
the
Comics
US? Got you. We'll get to that hopefully. We will get to that hopefully. So let's rate the right all-nighter. The correct all-nighter. Moses, what would you rate the All Nighter?
I would give it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. The art, while inconsistent, does a good job of conveying it, and the narrative, like just the personalities of 4 vampires living together and running a diner alone, is a good sitcom, and and it could be a good like Night of the Living Dead, like bottle type horror movie or bottle type conflict. And it just subverts all of that and goes this way. And that's
Right.
like, from knowing Chip Zdarsky, I know that that's like his sensibilities, and I can see like this is his stamp on it, and I'm all for it. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. And again, like I got it through my Comixology subscription, $5.99 once a month, about the price of a comic and a half, and I got all this vast library.
There you go.
And I don't have to deal with the comic shop not having my book because the distributor is all fucked up.
We're looking at you, Penguin Random House. Oz, what would you rate the All-Nighter?
2.
Right.
I could see. I want to do 1, but I could see where it might go someplace interesting. And if I get through the first half of the first book, I might get to a point where I would enjoy it. But I got 5 or 6 pages in, and I was out.
There you go. That's fair. Jay, what would you rate the All-Nighter?
I would rate it a 4. Interesting characters. Seems to be interesting characters, interesting world, and it seems to be going in an interesting direction. I like it.
Yeah. Cool. I give it a 4.5. It's a good book. And, I mean, I feel like the story is there 100%. I feel like the art is really good. It's not great though. And so it's like, like honestly, like there's a lot of comic book artists that are like people that that I would be like, they shouldn't be the one to do this book. But like, who the artist that could do this book that you would be like, oh man, it's like a whole nother level, like a different book, is like if a Fiona Staples was like the artist on this book, like this would be like right up there with Saga.
Yeah, I was thinking of somebody too. Like if a Mike Allred did it, it'd be like the hipster book of the year.
Yeah, no, Mike Allred, because it's Mike Allred, it'll be a different thing. But honestly, like Lou's art is just as good as Mike Allred's. And it's like look, listen. We're gonna pretend like Mike Allred is great, and it's like
no, but he's consistent. Like the foreheads look the same panel to panel.
No, and I'll give you that.
Yeah.
No, I'll give you that, but it's like it's like one of those things where and you're right. Like Mike Allred is every panel of Mike Allred is always gonna look like what it's supposed to look like, and that I can give you. You're right. Mike Allred is consistent.
That's the whole point in the review, though. At least
for me.
For me, that's the whole point. That would make it a 5 out of 5 book. Just the consistency alone, not even the style. The art is fine. The inconsistencies would kill.
Yeah, and I can give you that. Like I can't knock it. But if Fiona Staples was the artist on this book, people would have like a whole nother. They'd be like, "Wow, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen," which is wild, but that makes sense because it's a comic book. Like the art is a big part of it. So, but it has to be somebody of that caliber that can because again, Fiona Staples is somebody that like when you're talking about facial expressions and that kind of like telling a story through strictly a panel, it's like you have to get to that caliber, I think. And I feel like Lou does that. It just doesn't do it in every panel. So yeah. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5. All right, gents. What book are we talking about next?
Night of the Ghoul.
Night of the Ghoul. There it is. All right. Was this you, Mo?
Yeah, this is one of mine.
All right.
I'm a subscriber to Scott Snyder's Substack, and he's taken a interesting approach to that subscriber-based social network. It's like the OnlyFans for comic creators. Like, just pay them for content, and they'll do the little, they'll tease you with what they can give you, and Snyder he teaches you a writing class, but throughout the class he says, "Oh, Night of the Ghoul, I'm gonna go through this script and tell you how to write a comic, comics writing 101." And he'll do other stuff too, but he'll throw this in. He threw the other book we're talking about in. We Have Demons, and it's a promotional tool more than anything that I paid $75 a year for. But I'm learning. I'm learning things. One of the things I learned is that I'm a fucking idiot for thinking I could take a class now that I'm older. If I wasn't a good student, then I'm not a good student now. It's part of my success. I'm too cool for school. So why? Oh, I sign up for a class. Yeah, no, I'm terrible at it. I'm already truant 3 out of the 3.5 classes. And I've been high for the one. But just like high school all over. But yeah, this book, Night of the Ghoul, is like just the Francesco Francavilla art style, period. Like, I did my scene here to look like one of his art pictures. Yeah. He used a stark contrast of black and white and red and grays and oranges. And this book does that like right from the cover. It's what you get. And this is a story of a man that goes and he's a fan of this film, and he seeks out the director and writer and finds him in his elderly hospice home and says, I saw your film. I think it's a masterpiece, but it was destroyed, and I want to find out what happens. It's kind of like when Joe finally hunts out Rob Liefeld and gets shit like that. But this one takes a different turn. It's about a movie that talks about a ghoul in World War II that creates all these. It's the original monster, one that gives all the legends in history, and it turns out the shit's real. And the guy that finds the director finds out that there's people trying to set it free and people trying to destroy it, and there's a war going on. And now, because of just being a fanboy, he's stuck in the middle. And he's also trying to create a relationship with his son, which, like, the son and the mother seem like they're in cahoots about the divorce. So that all happens in issue 1, and it's very meaty in terms of character. And it's one of the reasons why we love Zack Snyder here. Not for, certain things more than others, but this is like, he's back to his roots of why we fell in love with his writing early on.
Scott Snyder.
That's what it says? Scott Snyder? I got Zack Snyder on the brain because I just watched that zombie movie on Netflix that just came out too. That was his.
Oh, the one with Signatara?
No, the other one, the Army of Thieves.
Army of Thieves. That's what it is.
Yeah. The prequel to Army of the Dead.
Yeah. I haven't seen either one of those. Are they any good?
Well, you're gonna hate you're gonna hate Army of the Dead because it's zombies and they're topless. You hate titties. They make your penis hard, so you don't like it. And then
wait, zombie?
Yeah, it's in Vegas. It takes place in Vegas, so there's showgirl zombies like with their tits hanging out, and prostitute zombies and tigers.
But are they like decomposing?
Look, you're gonna have to watch if you want to get your rocks off, Larry. This isn't a review of that.
I'm just trying to.
There's a movie called Zombie Strippers starring Jenna Jameson and
yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't. I mean, Robert Englund was good in it, but that wasn't that great.
There's not a lot of boobies in it.
There is, but that's
Well,
you know
what you're talking about, right?
no. The other one's actually a good movie.
I'm just asking if the breasts are decomposing or not. Like, I feel like that's a simple question.
You're gonna have to watch it, Larry.
Does it matter?
Like, that's what I'm gonna make
It
you watch.
does.
You ask a lot of
100%.
questions.
I'm gonna make Larry watch that
100%.
next time.
Yes.
Next time for the next voluntary torture, Larry's gonna watch Army of the Dead.
You ask a lot of questions on stuff that shouldn't matter.
Or stuff he claims he doesn't like. Like, he doesn't like horror stuff, and he doesn't like nudity, and he doesn't like porn stuff. And he's over here asking all these questions about this when we're trying to review Night of the Ghoul.
Hand check.
Okay.
Hey, look, one's on his lip right there because the other one's down his pants. You were a thumb sucker, weren't you, Larry? I can tell.
I don't think so. I don't know.
See, look, the thumb's
Anyway.
right there. Yeah, I see it. The audience doesn't see it because the camera's on me, but I see you here in the backstage.
So, Night of the Ghoul.
You can take the camera off of me, Jay. That was the cue.
He checked out.
Yeah. He was thinking of the zombie titties. Over here, Jay, Larry's doing this with his hand. I said hand check. That means get the camera off of me.
Sorry, I was trying to see if I could find a screenshot for Larry.
No. You got to save that for the Larry watches stuff.
Of the zombie boobies? I don't think we can put that on YouTube.
You can.
It's fine.
You like,
You say it's
like,
fine.
they-
We get like a strike of some sort.
right. These guys aren't trying to make. They're trying to make zero money.
Dude, we need about 3,900 more subscribers before we can make money.
Right.
And you know
And
how
getting-
you get
and
half
getting
of them?
content strikes isn't going to help us.
Showing titties.
Showing titties.
Right. That's how you get
But-
subscribers, by showing titties.
But only the
And
decomposed.
I'm not
kind.
showing mine.
I mean, if I have to.
I gotta go take a piss. I told you what Night of the Ghoul is. Speak
Take
amongst yourselves. Give
Take the
an
camera with
review.
you. So Night of the Ghoul, the comic, I guess. Look, I saw a delightful movie starring Peter Cushing. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of based on like that type of stuff. But you read the comic, right?
Sure.
Ah,
Yeah,
it's
very.
Like Jay.
No, you know-
while I
you
go take
know-
a leak,
you know I read it,
tell
'cause
the
this is
audience
one of those-
what you thought of Night of the Ghoul.
You know I read it because this is one of those wall of text that just slapped me in the face. And at first I thought, okay, well, they're setting something up. There's cool little wolves. So something's gonna happen. And so once you get through the initial world building, that the setups that they have to do, and finally gets to the point where he's talking to this old man in the hospital bed. Then they go through the movie, and I got another wall of text, and the whole they have to introduce a whole new world to me, and I'm just sitting there like, just give me the movie or give me the comic. But what the hell are we doing here? Why am I reading a novel when I picked up a comic book? It's just too much. It's just too much. But this. Here's the thing about reading a book like this in October, because we're doing horror stuff. I wish this was a one shot, because if this is a monthly thing, then next month and a half, I'm going to be looking for Christmas stuff, and I'm not going to be interested in horror anymore. And so stretching out this book that long, it should have either came out earlier or been if not a one shot, if you have all that text you got to put out there because you got that itch or whatever the hell's going on with Scott Snyder, then do a trade paperback. But stretching it out, I'm going to lose interest quick. And it doesn't help the way you start this book.
Okay.
Even the old man, like he wasn't just an old man. Like I thought he was a burn victim the way he was drawn. I
Right.
don't know what the heck was going on with him, but I thought I was gonna read a story about how this old man got messed up like that, but apparently he's just an old man
No,
at that point.
no. You
I
gotta
don't know.
read. You gotta read the.
I only
far
read
did
the
you get
first
in the-
issue. I didn't know there was a
Right.
second issue because when I looked it up, there's only one.
Yeah, but you can tell from the wall of text that it seems like you probably ignored that there's some adverse reaction to being exposed to the ghoul.
Yeah, I don't read that much text because there's too much knowledge. Knowledge is power, and power corrupts. So knowledge is evil.
There it is.
Yeah,
Oz is a patriot.
that's what they tell stupid people.
I'm just gonna drink my beer.
Yeah,
Jay,
that helps your reading comprehension too.
Jay, what did you think of Night of the Ghoul?
It was interesting. I don't know. There was something about this book that made my internal sensory go into overdrive. Like, I was hearing the classic horror music when the movie was playing and seeing like the film filter.
Yeah.
And like, I guess that's a credit to the book or just a credit to my mind being in overdrive. But it was an interesting read.
It sets a tone.
Right. And the thought of the ghoul being the first monster was actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know in general ghouls are pretty versatile. But to use it like this is like, what's the word?
Creative.
Inventive.
There you go.
They used it in an inventive way. So it got me interested. And if I could speak just a tiny bit on what Oz was saying, Christmas horror is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you wouldn't be into Christmas horror. Like, okay, Nightmare Before Christmas isn't horror, but it's like great.
Yeah.
During Christmas or Halloween. Krampus is amazing.
It's the reason why everybody starts selling Christmas stuff after Halloween is because of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It connects the two holidays.
Yeah. To the chagrin of Thanksgiving.
Look,
I mean, honestly, we're not
Americans
even going to be celebrating Thanksgiving in like 10 years.
You don't think so?
No,
everyone saw Anti-Colonizer.
Yeah.
And this is like Colonizer Christmas. Like, Thanksgiving is Colonizer Christmas.
Well, Christmas is colonizer Christmas because people in Nigeria weren't celebrating Christmas till the Christians got there. You know what I mean? Mexicans don't give a fuck about Jesus till the Spaniards got there. Yeah.
I feel like it's like Columbus Day is like colonizer Christmas.
Yeah, but you
colonizer.
saw what happened to Columbus Day this year. Like,
No,
half
absolutely.
the people just cut it out. And trust me, Thanksgiving is going the same way. Like, Thanksgiving is on the way out. It's not a huge loss for me. I'm not that into turkey. So
I feel like Thanksgiving will have a similar metamorphosis where we just change the focus. Now you can celebrate Thanksgiving and focus on the indigenous people versus the pilgrims.
Yeah. Thank you for being martyrs for us.
Well, we celebrate their defeat every year?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
It wasn't a war.
Yeah. It was just
how come so many of them died?
Yeah, it was just a genocide.
Well, that didn't
Over
happen
generations.
on Thanksgiving. That happened after Thanksgiving, like with the smallpox later.
Well, it's a slippery slope from dining with someone to them giving you polio.
Right. Or COVID. I hear you. I feel that. Anyway. So going back to Night of the Ghoul. What did you think of it, Moses?
Oh, I love it. Like how Joe said, the sensory, it just taps into creating an image in your mind. While there are images and words there already, the art really connects the two. Joe put the picture earlier that I wanted to share, and I'll share a more.
Which one was it?
It was the same one, but I just want to share a more how do you say zoomed in look, and it's just the color palette is limited. Francavilla, that's how he draws. He draws everything in shades of gray and red or orange, depending on how you look at it. But like just that face right there, that expression, like he is a minimalist type of artist where he just works with contrast and creates definition with that. But just that look on his face is expressive, and that's just that little one panel, and it just and then he throws in that like weird beige light. It creates a warm light that just complements that orange, but it separates it from that gray. Like it's just it's almost like he's a master artist. I'm convinced of it, that he's a master artist, even though Oz probably won't like his art, but the shit's amazing. It's why I did my lighting the way I did it today, because it's like I gotta create that in picture form. And I actually did take a selfie with the lighting, but I'm not gonna show it here. So, but you'll see it if you follow us on Instagram at Fantastic Forum. And it's just that whole as far as the story goes, it reminds me of like The Strain, where it takes something, gives you a different genre or a similar genre and adds this to it and gives you a whole new perspective on that genre. It transcends the genre, and that's what this book did. I really like. This is a 5-star book out of me. Like this is it. Like I didn't even think. I'm familiar with Francavilla's art as a cover, and I've seen him do fan art, just like Alien came out today. If you follow him on Instagram, like so he'll redo a movie poster in his style, or like Psycho came out today in 19 whatever, and he'll just do that. Or like if he likes, like David Bowie died, he'll just draw David Bowie. And it's like his style is amazing. I love it, and I would love, if there wasn't so much black in it, I would love to get it tattooed on me. But it's too much black. That's for cover-ups. But the book as a whole, the story, I mean, the wordiness, it felt right. I felt, We Have Demons, I felt was a lot wordier than this. I think a lot of the expressiveness of the story was done through the art, and it just works so well. Like I can't. There's so many just levels of how great this is. Like from enjoying the bumpers in a horror anthology type horror comic, like this has that. And it uses the way it tells you the story, and then it gives you the feeling of watching a vignette that's shot differently than the rest of the episode. If you're watching a horror anthology TV show, it just incorporates all these cinematic themes, just not even like the cinematography, the framing of the shots. Like Francavilla is a master at that, and that's why his covers are so great. Like every Afterlife of Archie that we've reviewed on the show, I think was his cover. Or one of them was for sure. So yeah, to me, this is one of the perfect, like, to end horror season on Fantastic Forum in terms of comics. Like this is the perfect book to review at the end.
Yeah, I hear that. I know personally, like I really enjoyed this book myself as well. Uh, you know, like it's really eerie, and I know that some people might feel like, oh well, if that's what you're saying, you might think of that as a bad thing, but no, I mean that as a good thing. Where I'm just like, it's a book that's trying to strike a particular tone, and it's successful at it. Um, the story is really interesting as well, especially considering that it's like it has a lot of different layers to it, and really almost any one of those layers would have been fine in and of themselves. But the fact that they're like, like you have Scott Snyder, and he's just like, oh well, yeah, no, I get it. Like, I could do just this, but let me go like one level deeper. And he's like, I could do just those two things, so let me go another level deeper. It's like that's all very interesting, where it's just like, oh, like I didn't know what this book was going to be going in, and having come out the other end of issue 1, I'm just like, oh, it feels like there's a lot to unpack, and like it felt like I would be very happy to read issue 2 just to kind of see where they decide to go next, because they gave me enough story in the first issue for me to actually be like, I don't know, like they have like 2 or 3 different directions they could go in, and any one of them would be interesting. And if they decide to do just one, that's fine. If they decide to do 2, then that would be even better. And if they decide to go like 3 different directions, then hey, let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that they do it successfully. You know what I mean? But issue 1, I feel like was like a good look. So I would definitely read issue 2.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we ready to rate?
Yeah, let's do it. How about let's start with you, Oz. What would you rate Night of the Ghoul?
I'll probably go with a 4. It's not a bad book, and most partially right. I wasn't if I just picked up this book and looked at that art without actually reading the story, I might be a little bit turned off. But I get what they were going with. Hopefully it was on purpose. I could have been accidental, but every panel, every page felt like it was done in a style of an old classic horror poster.
Yeah.
And so that made the art style, like, if he did it on purpose, it's genius. If he did it on accident, then he's lucky.
From being a fan, I can tell you he did it on purpose.
Right. Yeah, like that's a lot of luck.
Yeah, and that's what I believe that he would do that on purpose, because it feels really intentional.
Yeah.
So yeah, like normal day, the art would turn me off, but it fits the story, and that makes it better in my book. And like I said, it's not a bad story. I kind of want to see what happens in the movie. I want to read more, and so that's automatically a 4. If it makes me want to read more.
Jay, what about you, buddy? What would you rate Night of the Ghoul?
I would give it a 4. I love the tone. I love the ghoul. Yeah, and the kid is interesting. Like, I do want to see what his deal is. And the cult is pretty cool. Scary, kind of. Like, they scare me. Like when they were in the hall and then they weren't. Like,
that scene actually like made me kind of mad, because the security guard just told that kid, "Hey, don't go down that hallway." Kid's like, "No, I'm just sending a text." And like the next page, kids is down the hallway and the security guard's nowhere to be found. Like, what the hell? Did you just fall asleep? This dude's not doing his job. F that dude. If it turns out he's like a cult member and was luring the kid in there, then hey, you know what? That more brilliance that I didn't expect.
Had you read the words fully, it kind of that's kind of what's happening. It's inadvertent, but they're there for that reason. They're caught in the middle of something that's about to happen.
Yeah, so I would give it a 4. Like, I'm definitely gonna keep reading this. I'm actually interested in the film. Like, I want to see this movie.
The film in the book.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Moses Magnum, what would you rate Night of the Ghoul?
I would this is a 5 out of 5 for me. Like, I can see that I'm almost 100% certain he drew this on Procreate on his iPad, and it works really well. Like, it's just done really well. And the format that the medium that this is distributed in, which is Comixology Unlimited, 4 tablets, books formatted for digital distribution, really just lets these colors that aren't super shiny, they're not flashy, but it really lets this really where's my iPad? This expensive ass screen, really, like, those colors really shine. Those 3 or 4 colors he loves to use really, really shine, and it's so smooth and sharp, and it's just on point. Like, the art and colors just hit on point, and this feels like, because there's so many almost subplots, like, to these characters, like this, I wouldn't be surprised if this gets turned into a TV show, an ongoing series. It feels that way, and it doesn't feel like they made it for that. It just feels like this would be a good one. If, of course, if they follow it, like they use the comic as the script or the storyboard, And that's part of the beauty of it too, is that you don't need a live action version of this, because these storyboards just flow so well. The dialogue flows well and the art flows well. Like, it's already perfect as it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that hand the first time I read this.
I was just about to say that I just noticed that too.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah.
I saw the old people, but I didn't notice that hand when I first read that page.
And that hand's a callback.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot
earlier in the book, in the movie.
So, if you, man, it might be hard to see here. I'm gonna share the screen again. But there's a lot of hidden Easter eggs, if you can call them, in this art that Frank Avila does. And it's part of what creates a tone. Even if you don't see it, your subconscious sees it. But there's always, like, eyes looking at you.
Oh, smack.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
that happens. It happens throughout the comic. Like, here, you'll see, like, there's like a skull right here. There's 2 eyes and teeth.
Look, it's interesting because I did notice that even the building looks like a skull.
Right. Yeah, and he does that a lot.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
And here, and that's the thing. I think this might be the first, like, fully. Well, no, because the Black Beetle on Dark Horse was one of the first Frank Avila books that I've ever fully drawn by him that I read. But that's a different tone. It's not a horror. It's more of a noir. And but I think there might have been a DC, like a Batman one that he did. But again, like this one, his art style lends itself to horror, and like these little Easter eggs that he does, just it's. I don't even know. Like, where's my notes on describing whiskey? Because it's perfectly like patient. The flavor isn't intense. It's not biting. It's subtle. but jarring, and
Yeah.
it's disturbing and comforting at the same time, which is really like the worst part about horror, because right when you think there's peace and security, there's something looking at you from the shadows. You know, and he embodies that in every fucking panel, even if there's eyes
Yeah.
hidden. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I thought this book was like pretty amazing myself, and I do agree. Like the narrative it tells in regards to like the ghoul and the place the ghoul has throughout like the fiction of monster lore is pretty amazing. And you know, I mean, honestly, again, there's a lot of layers to this, but each one is really interesting in and of itself. And yeah, for that reason, I think I'd give this 4.5 out of 5 as well. Where I'm just like, it's great. It's a great book. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, or I enjoyed reading it thoroughly, and I would definitely read issue number 2. So yeah, let's go. All right. Should we go ahead and transition to We Have Demons?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. And I don't know. Do you, I mean, I know Jay and Mo, you all talked about it already. Do you want me to like introduce this book, or do one of you want to do this?
I think you should do it.
Okay. So we have Demons is
Sounds like you saw a movie too.
no. We Have Demons is Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo teaming up once again, which you know, it's they've done a couple different things, but of course, most popular, which is the Batman at this point. But the Batman book, which classic run for the most part. But this is them getting back together and making a book that is pretty steeped in like Christian mythology. And so you have a young lady who is learning about her father's past, and in doing so basically kind of getting set down a path and where she needs to hunt demons for herself. And so Greg Capullo, of course, like for most people, like the introduction to him was on Spawn. So there's no, he has no lack of experience when it comes to drawing demons. And so, you know, he's done that many a time. And then of course you have Scott Snyder, and he can write pretty much, for the most part, whatever he wants. It's just a matter of, you know, I think the big thing here is this is Scott Snyder without a lot of editorial edit. You know, like this is him being free to kind of write what he wants to write, and him being free to have Greg Capullo draw what things that he knows Greg Capullo can already draw. So that's where we kind of end up with We Have Demons. So Moses, what were your initial thoughts on this book?
I was kind of well, it's kind of wordy. Yeah.
Okay.
Like this one felt wordy in the way that kind of Oz felt of the other one for me. It took a little bit to get into. Like right when you open it up, there's a page of prose. Yeah.
I honestly thought that this was the book I was talking about too. I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
Like the first few pages, they move the art to the side.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, but this is part of what you get when you get a dude that's a good writer, you know, and he does a book on his own terms with limited edit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and this is what you're gonna get. And so I put that off to the side from my head, and then it still kept getting wordy. Like the dialogue was you know, the I don't want to call it a non-linear timeline, but the way the book starts with the narration, like right there, when it's taking place, and then there's multiple flashbacks within flashbacks.
Right. Right.
It's a hard thing to pull off in a comic book. It's a hard thing to pull off in a movie. You know,
Hmm.
um, and here I felt that it was pulled off well. Um, it paid off at the end, and I think that alone deserves a little bit of recognition and praise because it's a I would I want to see the actual like notes, like the rough draft, the outline, like how are we gonna do this? Yeah, how are we gonna set this up from a pre-production standpoint? Because it seems like the pre-production for this is would be a quite an undertaking. Um, but once it gets going, like I'm all in. Like the fact that it's really about uh, a daughter, estranged type daughter that isn't estranged necessarily by proximity, but by just the secrets that the parents keep from the daughter, and not knowing her full heritage is a really interesting origin story for this character. So once it boils to that, it's like I'm all in. It took me a while to get to that all in point. Even when you look at Snyder's other book, Night of the Ghoul, like one of the things that attracts the main character to the director to find him is like, is this a story about fathers and sons and the secrets they keep from each other, and this is a
Hmm.
similar theme here,
Right.
and it's just executed in a different way, and it's a different perspective, and it's like these two themes concurrently, I don't think are by accident. you know
Right.
we saw this happen with your Animal Man and your Swamp Things in the New 52, where
Mhm.
it's like these things were happening and they were happening parallel, but then they find a place where they meet, and it was great. And now we're I feel like we're kind of seeing something. I don't know if they're going to connect or not, but who knows? I mean, Ghoul is a different uh parlance of demon, you know,
Right.
and this
Right.
is we have demons and Night of the Ghoul, so it's like technically Night of the Demon, and we have ghouls. Like they're interchangeable at this point. So I don't know if they're going to connect or not. I don't think they have to, but I'm going to be reading these parallel either way.
That's fair. Jay, what did you think of We Have Demons?
Oh, I enjoyed it immensely. I love the art. The art was amazing. I like the story. I kind of like this main character, even though she's kind of a bitch a little bit.
How so?
It's like, it's one thing. Like, I just felt like she should have put in a little more effort to stay connected to her dad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But I still like her. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I love how she thought her dad was a S&M hitman DJ, which was hilarious.
That is funny.
And yeah, all around, it's a decent start for a decent movie, or a decent book. I enjoyed the backstory with the meteors. Yeah, nothing too much that I didn't like about this book, except
That's
for
fair.
being a bitch a little bit.
Yeah.
I have a question for Jay. Do you think someone that's not a bitch or not an asshole would have the gusto or drive to hunt and kill demons?
Well, the dad wasn't an asshole, and he was driven to kill
We don't
demons.
really know that much about the dad to make that judgment.
He was okay with.
We know he's
pushing
willing
his
to
daughter
chop
away.
off his daughter's arm in order to save her.
Right.
I don't think most people would make that choice, but he had the love and the fortitude to do what needed to be done to save his daughter.
You just described the opening scene of House of Cards with Kevin Spacey. Like, that's what he says. Like, you have to be an asshole to do what it takes, because a nice person's not going to be able to do what it takes. They're going to hesitate to the point where it can't be done.
Also, Kevin Spacey, not a good dude.
Right. He embodied that role perfectly. But
I never saw House of Cards.
No,
but not
So
because of
good.
right, but it's just a trait. Like, I think, when you see your people that can get things done, especially like look down and stare death down in the eyes.
Did you just virtually pat him in the back?
I did.
So I saw. Like, I hope that's what it was, because I just saw Lawrence doing this.
That's what it was.
No,
You got it
I
right.
knew what it was, and I did appreciate it.
I want my
See,
friend to live.
and
I want him
that's
to
the
live.
thing. Larry wouldn't be able to kill a demon head on
Why not?
because you're not an asshole. Like, you look at Ash.
I don't need to be an asshole. I just need to be righteous. Like,
Yeah,
kill
I
a
don't
demon.
think-
If I know
like,
it's a demon,
The righteous ones die first.
If you know it's a demon,
oh,
you'll crap your pants and run away.
Right. Yeah. It's when I think that edge that comes from being an asshole or a bitch.
Well, hold on. Does the demon make noises?
Look, the demon has to talk about his dreams, and Larry will shit his pants.
Amber's a demon hunter.
Real quick,
mhm.
real quick, you mentioned Ash, and I didn't get to this comment yet. Tiger Claw says, you seen the trailer for Black Friday? It's a new Christmas horror comedy with Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. It looks amazing, and I can't wait to watch it.
Okay. Oz, what did you think of We Have Demons?
Once you get through all the text, oh my!
I think Oz was reading it at work. Is what's happening.
I read all these at work, actually. It bugged me at first because I knew it was Capullo that drew it, and the art's kind of it's weird for like the first third of it, but it's not good. But you can see Capullo in it. Like you could tell, well, this is Capullo art. This was just him. Like I don't know if he was drunk. I don't know what was happening, but I could tell it's him. It's just not what I'm used to seeing from him. When you get to the point that the demons show up, there's Capullo. Like, okay, I see. Hey, he spent all his time on this half of the book and forget that half because that's Snyder's wall of text that you have to throw out there. No, I liked it. It's it feels like the opening to like a supernatural TV show.
Yeah.
And I watched every episode of that TV
assholes
show. So
killing
if you got something that has that feeling to
It's
it,
true.
then I'm gonna enjoy it. Now, Lawrence, you described it as delving into Christian mythology. I would argue that other than the fact that they say the word demons, no,
And he's a
not
preacher.
really. Not really.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I would say it's more like a parallel to Christian mythology, because you do get a little bit of the demon stuff, but they attribute it to like a meteor, which is technically like a demon. It's a weird story, but it's an interesting story. I just wouldn't put it that close to the actual.
I like how they attribute it to a meteor, and like in Mexico, Oz, I'm sure you know, we have the cenotes, which are the gateways to hell that were caused by the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about, and you know, in the Bible it says that the demons were cast to the heavens, like to a different tier of it too. So they come from the sky, maybe from a meteor or a spaceship. Who knows? You explain the physics in that, but yeah, I feel it is a little bit in the Christianity because he's a pastor too. But
Now,
and
and
the
I'm
godly
looking at-
folk and all that they use, the terminology they use a lot is kind of faith based. I want to call it biblical, but faith based.
I'm looking at the image that Joe's posting up, and even like the main character, I forget her name right now, the one armed girl. If you look at her in the first few pages, her face looks weird. When you get to the part where Capullo has to draw these demons, like she looks way better.
Yeah,
I don't know if maybe she was younger in those first pages, so maybe he just doesn't like drawing kids. But she just, to me, she looked weird. And when you
well,
get
she's
to this
talking
point-
to those demons in the first pages.
No, the
flashback.
Yeah, when she
Oh,
actually starts telling her tale, and you see her as a little kid, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just can't draw kids for some reason. And I see Jay's putting it. No, that's still her as an adult.
I'm looking for it.
Like when he cuts off
Like
her
right
arm.
there.
Yeah,
That's a weird face. And then like the dad has like the goofiest freaking look in his face. It's just weird. But you see Capullo there. He's just not good.
well, that
that's
face itself, it suffers from. I think it's a coloring thing too, because hold on, go back to that panel, Jay. So there's multiple light sources and shadows. Yeah, so you got a soft light source coming on the left hand side here, or right hand side from me, and then the harsh light from the sunset on the other side, and then there's shadows like right where those those creases that create shadows throw off that shape of the face a lot. Like there's a panel in Crimson that's like that, but it's done well, and I wish I could put it up right now, but I can't. But it's the same pose, same lighting, just done better, you know, and it doesn't give you that look. I'll put it in the pre-production text.
Either way, once the demons show up, like that's where Capullo shines. That's where you see why that dude did Spawn.
I know for me, I kind of felt like, I mean, overall, I enjoyed this book. I felt like it was like Christian mythology because it's like, yeah, like Mo mentioned, you do have like the god folk, and then you also have like the other meteor that they use to make like the blades, and the blades, like, it's like, I guess I say Christian mythology just because it's like, you do have demons that they talk about, and then you also have like the blades that they make from the meteor that can
If they
kill
would
the
have called the
demons.
meteor wormwood, it would have like
Yeah, exactly. Right.
it would have
Like,
been
right.
more biblical.
Right. Right. Exactly. Like there was like a whole part of it where I was like, when they had the initial meteor heading towards the Earth, and I was thinking of what is it? What's the meteor in the Bible?
It's
Or is
wormwood.
that
Wormwood, but that's that's a future meteor.
This is the future.
Right.
No.
no, right. But
Yeah.
you have wormwood, but then isn't there another meteor before that one?
I mean, they say Sodom and Gomorrah was a meteor.
Is it it's not Magog or Agamemnon. It's not Agamemnon. Like there's another meteor beforehand. Like there's an old meteor, and then there's a new meteor. Like there's a past meteor and a future meteor. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, but again, it's one of these things where they have like the blades that they make, and then there's like 9 of them that are left, and which is like, like
That's not
Huh?
even like King Tut had a blade made out of meteorite.
Right.
That like
Well,
that's not
look, but
even
but but
necessarily.
but you're saying it like Christianity, like Christian mythology, doesn't have its roots in Egyptology. Like all of the
Yeah.
stuff from Christianity is all old like Egyptian stuff
Like your
that
version
they
of God
repurpose.
that's hanging in your 16 chapel
Like
is just a
literally
Titan.
like just even when you like you're right, like even when you're talking about like Jesus and Mary and like like it's like all of that is all Egyptology stuff that they
The prophecy of
repurpose.
Jesus and Mary is like, was it Semiramis and the other one?
Yeah, so
Like
you
it
know,
was an Egyptian prophecy.
yeah, and then I'm pretty sure like I don't remember if they actually mentioned halos in the book in this book or if it was just that they just have the circles on their like because zero, like they mentioned zero, but the zero is basically like a halo, and so it's like there's a lot of like Christian mythology kind of stuff that they allude to in this book, which I mean,
It just
listen,
doesn't have the Christian slant that would make it like a Christian, like somebody like Oz, that's the devout Catholic, think that it's biblical. It has more of like the anthropological aspects of the Bible, not the faith-based aspects.
well, and honestly, like, and it's interesting that you bring that up because that's actually a bit of the part that like where like I kind of detract from the book because it's kind of like in my mind I'm like I love Christian mythology and like I can like being a Christian myself I respect it for what it is, you know what I mean, just because it's like yeah, like I'm a believer myself. However, at the same time, I'm like well read enough that I understand that it's like, all this stuff comes from someplace else, you know? And so I don't look at things and just say like, okay, well I just accept everything that I read blindly.
You should watch
And
The
it's
Conjuring.
okay.
It's
We'll
like
see.
Christian superhero movies.
Okay.
Like
But
it's literally like, oh, the power of Christ. Yeah, we won. Like
but
You would get to see James Hahn before he sold out and started making crap.
yeah, I don't know who James Hahn is, but James Wan, yeah, you would see him before he sold out too.
Yeah, I have a impediment, you ableist.
you ableist. But what I'm saying is it's like
That's the title
you
of this
know
episode. I have an impediment, you ableist.
but what I'm saying is it's like obviously we have a lot of books that deal with like Christian mythology and Christian themes, and I know for myself I'm kind of like obviously we've seen the what's the right word, we've seen the I guess the take on that kind of stuff from like the more cynical point of view. And it would be interesting to see that from like the perspective of somebody that actually like believes in some of that stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
Comicscape people.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. And then don't get me wrong. Well, I
It's
should
like they
say
have the
this.
White Hood, the guy that's a believer in the Crusader, the White Hood. He's a
I've never
superhero.
read I've never read a Comicsgate comic that was about like that had like Christian mythology themes in it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there's plenty of Comicsgate books that have people that are Christians in it, like quote unquote
I'm gonna
Christian.
look through our PR
But
section of our email because they have been trying to get us to review some of those books.
but I guess what I'm saying more so is like in the same way they have books like Spawn and this book we have demons and like like even to a certain degree where you have like some of the stuff that happens with like Angela once she gets to like the Marvel universe. It's like, these are all books that delve into Christian mythology, but don't have people that necessarily believe in any of that stuff at all. And so they treat it in a particular way. And it would be interesting to see a book with somebody that was like, oh, okay, I would like to delve into those realms, but I also kind of have like some sort of like faith attached to that to a degree, because I'm not asking for like, I'm not asking for Christian comics because we've read those too, or I have, and they're not good either. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like,
there was one I liked.
And Left Behind was pretty bad.
Left Behind isn't a comic; that's a novel.
Still pretty bad.
I personally like Left Behind, but
And I didn't read the novel. I saw the movie adaptation.
well, that's a whole different thing, Joe.
Well,
It's like
I didn't bring up the book.
Larry's
You brought up the book.
Christians can't make good.
I was
comics.
talking about books, and you were talking about movies all of a sudden.
I was
We're
talking
talking
about
comic books.
adaptations.
Nah, well, but nobody said okay. Well, okay. If you want
I'm
to talk
gonna
about
write
movies,
Look, I'm gonna write a good Christian comic, Larry.
oh, okay. Look, good luck with that, Mo.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be full of all sorts of bullshit, and you're just gonna have to take it because it's on faith. Take it on good faith.
Hey, I mean, listen.
So-
I'll read
The
it.
story's
I
gonna
don't
be
know if I have
bad,
to take
but
it.
it's like you gotta have faith.
So we should rate this book.
Yeah, we should. So, okay. So, when it comes to We Have Demons, Oz, what did you think of it? What would you rate it?
Easily somewhere between a 4 and a 4.5. It out of the 3 books that we read for today, it was the best one. It's the one where I was gonna say I enjoyed the art more because I really like Capullo's art, but the Night of the Ghoul, like what they did with their art was just so brilliant that it's kind of like this art's better, but those choices they made in that book were amazing. So that there's kind of like it's kind of the art wise, it's I guess it could go either way. So yeah, at least it's definitely a book that I want to see what happens. Like it feels like it's the beginning of, like I said earlier, like the Supernatural TV show. One of the questions we've seen to be getting a lot lately is, how would this book do as a TV show? And I think this would be an interesting pilot to a decent TV show.
That's fair. Jay, what would you think?
I would give it a 4. I really like the art. I like the characters. I like the story. Like, there's not that much wrong with it. Like, it's not perfect, but I do enjoy it.
Okay, cool. Moses Magnum.
Man, this is easily like a 4.5. It's almost a 5. I as a first issue, it's just done really well and it's executed well. Like giving me that many layers of storytelling in different, like, it's basically 3 different stories to kind of guide to this one main story of her killing this couple. It's like some Reservoir Dog shit. Like this is like, I don't think, in a major comic book company, the editor would let you do that, even though it'd be brilliant, and that's part of the beauty of this project that Scott Snyder has now, and putting these books on Comixology Originals, and it just did it well, and it's got me excited for issue 2. So it's like a 4 and a 5. I would even say 5. Yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna say 5 because I was at a 4 when I first read it. I was going to do one shot for it, but then to finish off this horror themed month that we got going on here on the channel, figured let's do it here. Issue 2 I think is out already. I haven't read it, but I want to, and I'm excited for it. So yeah, hearing you guys talk about it really like made me go back and really, yeah, it's a 5. All this to say, it's a 5.
There it is. For myself, I'm a little conflicted. Like honestly, like it's somewhere definitely between like a 3.75 and a 4. Like it's a good book. It's just honestly, I think I'm a little I'm a little disappointed just because I feel like there's a part of me that's like, okay, we've tread this ground before in a number of different ways, in the same way how we talk about like things like Spawn and Angela and Supernatural, where it's like we've been down this road before. At the same time, this book is bringing something of its own to the table. So, I can't mess around and try to make it like I don't want to diminish it at all by trying to make it seem as if it doesn't bring any new ideas, because it does. It does. It's just one of those things where it's like, and so honestly, I'm fairly certain it's a personal bias where I'm just like personally, I'm like, oh, like
I'm fairly
I would
certain
love
that too, Larry.
Yeah, exactly. Where I'm just like, I would like to see.
It's also a strong female lead, and we know how much you hate that.
No, it had nothing to do with like. Listen, the young lady that's the head of the book is fine, and she's cool, and I do think that she's an interesting character in regards to the relationship she has with her father, and how they make it so that she has a prosthetic
the
arm.
disgust in your face as you say that.
Well, no, there's no disgust. There's no disgust. It's like she has a prosthetic arm that she like changes year to year because she's growing. It's like that's all interesting stuff, and I feel like the backstory is interesting, and it sets itself up for a great character. And like this is one of the few exceptions where I feel like I could totally see this being adapted into like a TV show or a movie, and it very well might like bring a little bit more to the table in that regard than it did in the comic book form, where one of the few exceptions where it's like the multimedia property or version of this might actually be better than the book itself, but we'll see. Like who knows if this even gets adapted at all or what. But either way, I think I'm going to go ahead and just go with the I'm going to go ahead and I'll go with the 3.75, but it's a good book. And so, and I will read issue 2 as well. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. So with that said, like we're like getting ready to run over. I know we do have we had some news stories we want to talk about. Is there anything that we definitely need to talk about before we go, or should we just hold it?
I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on that unionizing of Image Comics. That's a weird story, and I blame Dave Chappelle for it. But yeah,
it's definitely Dave Chappelle's fault. I agree. Oz, you have any thoughts on that? You got to see that story?
I saw that story, and the follow-up story should be 9 new position openings at Image Comics.
That was one of the first grievances with it too, where they every time they try to unionize, there's union busting. So this time they can't do it.
So I'm saying, like, of all places, should Image be that group? Like literally, like it's like literally like the people that mess around and protest or get mad at people protesting in America, where they're like, why would you be causing all this ruckus? And it's like, well, this is pretty much what the country was founded upon, right? Like Image is all about the ruckus.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going with how Image was founded, then anybody not happy with what Image is putting out should create their own company and put out their own books, right? Then you're following the spirit of Image Comics.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I feel like on another token, you could just say like what Image Comics is about disrupting the status quo.
Right, but they're not stopping the disruption. Like these guys, it seems like they just made a union just in case somebody says something that they don't like, and they want to be able to stop it from coming out in the comic book.
Well, but I feel like that's a little bit of
well, no, it just seems like they don't want to have to like quit their job in case that happens.
Well, but that's a little bit of that's a bit of minimization of what it is that
Because they're not asking for a
like.
401k. They're not asking for a better wage.
No, I mean, I think that they definitely are asking for better work conditions, and I don't know that they're necessarily asking for
But what is
more
the difference
money.
in terms of work conditions?
Like they came out with a list of like 9 demands,
Right. And there's one
and only one of them was about comic book, like books coming out from creators that they feel are problematic. Like that was one of 9. So if you focus on the one and not the other 8, then that's
right.
like minimizing everything else they're talking about.
Which one? What was another one about? Like,
Well,
give me another.
Another one was about the work conditions and about
Right, but what they say? Okay, what is the example of a not a good work condition? Did they state any of those?
Keep in mind, most of these guys are working from home.
Well, no, I'm not even thinking about that because that's even further minimization.
I mean, I think it's just it literally was just talking
like
about.
It's not a hostile. They're not saying that it is a hostile environment already, right?
No, they're not.
They're dealing in hypotheticals when it comes to dealing with Image Comics. It's what
I don't know.
Like.
I don't know that they're talking about hypotheticals. Like they mention long work hours and lack of recognition. I mean that was
that's what the paycheck's for. Like,
well, I mean,
get paid overtime. They're not violating any federal laws. They're not running a sweatshop.
I listen. I don't know how long the hours they are or aren't working. Like they brought it up. They didn't go into specifics in regards to like saying like this is how many hours I worked and were compensated poorly or not compensated, in the proper way. They didn't say that.
When it comes to working from home, I know not from my experience, but from, when Emily had to work from home in the past and then dealing with my clients that work home. It's like the boss will call you at 8 a.m. at 8 p.m. and be like, hey, you know what? Can you just check on this real quick? No kind of clock in information or anything. And I tell them, hey, you write down that amount of time you spent because you may not have to ask for it now, but in the lawsuit that comes. That you gotta have that. You gotta have that because that you're gonna get. There's gonna be a class action lawsuit because of it. Because this new working from home paradigm that we have because of COVID and all these restrictions, we haven't worked out yet. So so that might be one of the things these guys are talking about. But I don't see how the cancellation like these. I don't know what. I read the names of the people. I don't know what influence they have creatively on the company as a whole, but they have the ability to cancel titles.
Yeah,
based on their take.
Well, and don't get me wrong, and that I definitely understand, and I definitely I definitely think of it personally as a negotiation point, where it's like. On one hand, I understand what they're saying, where they're like, "Hey, as the people that help put these books out, we would like to be able to sleep at night in regards to what we do and don't put out." And I can understand that. And I'm not saying they're like, "Oh, it needs to be us 9." I think that's just the initial 9. I think what they're saying is, as a collective, we should be able to have a say. And
I would say sleep fine on the sidewalk.
Well, but here's the other part of it.
It's talking about if the issue is working conditions, I can get behind that. But when we get to the point that you're trying to tell the company what they can and cannot sell, then now you're just being an idiot.
Well, but here's the thing though. It's like on one hand, I can see why you feel that way, and I'm not saying you're wrong in the sense that you're like creative is creative. And it's like, why should you get to decide what gets put out creatively? And I understand that, and I can respect that point. On the other hand, they're like, nothing puts out creatively unless we actually do the footwork to make that happen. So it's like saying there's there's a difference between it's like the difference between the person that makes the music and the people that press the record. And they're like, hey, I get it. You made this music. And you're like, well, why should you get a say in regards to what the music sounds like? And they're like, well, nobody hears any music unless we press these records, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong in that regard. I'm saying both sides have a point.
That's why CD Baby's gonna give us copyright strikes for Jay's music because that shit ain't ironed out, and that the wrong people are in control with a lot of these things.
All I'm saying is like these like and I understand that music doesn't work like this anymore, but there was a point where there was a point where the people that press the record are the ones that determine how many people get to hear the music or not. And if they're like, well, maybe we don't want to put out problematic music. That's a new paradigm shift where the people are kind of like, hey, like we're a part of this too. And I feel like that's a conversation worth having. I'm not saying that they're right in how they feel. I'm just saying it doesn't hurt to talk to them.
Well, I'm saying they're wrong. And if you disagree, hit us up in the comments. And
let us know what you think.
Yeah, because honestly, it's a weird thing. When you start censoring art, it reminds me of book burnings and things like that. And it starts somewhere. It starts with a joke. It starts with censorship, and it just depends on what your sensibilities are. Really,
but
as an existential nihilist, there is no really right or wrong. All there is you either get work or out or not.
That's fair. All right, Moses Magnum. Well, actually, let me go. Oz, give me some final thoughts.
You guys still aren't watching Stargirl, right?
No, we're too existentialists for that.
I feel like I'm wasting my breath and move on. I'm done. Next thought.
There it is, Jay. Final thoughts.
We didn't get a chance to talk about learning with Pibby this week. So we'll probably try and talk about that next week. I put it in the production text. Learning with Pibby.
Pibby? Is that Peppa Pig's autistic brother-in-law?
No,
yes,
it is not.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely what it is. Watch it.
I'm telling you, these guys don't listen to you, Jay.
I don't even see it in the production text. When was it? Yesterday? 2 days ago?
It's a YouTube link.
Oh, that's the trailer you put.
I said I was all in and gave it 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
there it is.
I thought he was talking about books because we talk about comic books. Okay.
Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
Again, you got anything to say to us? Hit us in the comment. Hit us on Instagram. We're here every week. Just give us the like, give us the bell. Even if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. Like I'm narcissistic enough to enjoy those too.
Indeed. And for everyone here at Fantastic Forum, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like Moses said. Let us know what you would like to hear us talk about. We've got some great shows coming up. So, make sure you hit us up and let us know what you want us to talk about so we can include your thoughts. We're the Fantastic Forum. We'll be back next week. Until then, we're out.